Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The daily Ukrainian front update coming from the Ukrainian side because the Russian side again shows that they are slackers. It seems like they do not update their front situation during the weekend. So I think for them weekend starts on Friday. Too bad. We'll just use the Ukrainians and see what they say about their counteroffensive, which supposedly is occurring in south of Donetsk, north of, or mainly the whole front of Zaporizhzhia. So let's see. I'm going to use the Russian map to show you where things occur on the map, and we're going to use the Ukraine forum. This article is from today, the 28th of July 2023. War update: 21 combat engagements recorded during the day. This is the Russian map. It's 27th of September, Jesus Christ, almost. July 2023, and here is, I covered this yesterday because I know what I said about this thing. Russian forces destroyed several Ukrainian aircraft fuel depots. Okay, we know that one. That was yesterday. So let's go back to Ukrainians. This is where the Ukrainian counteroffensive occurs. This area right here, main thrust, right? And that's on they call it Melitopol and Berdyansk. So they want to go here and they want to go here, and that's it. Done with the Russians. Supposedly the Russians are dead, floating downstream, facing down. All right. The offensive operation of the defense forces of Ukraine in the south continues, and defenders gain a foothold on the achieved frontiers. In total, 21 combat engagements took place at the front during the day. This is stated in a report by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine as of 1800, 6 o'clock p.m. on Friday, July 28. The defense forces of Ukraine continued to go on an offensive operation in Melitopol and Berdyansk directions, gain a foothold on the reached boundaries, fire artillery on identified enemy targets, and carry out counter-battery fight. So as I said, their counteroffensive is located right here. Try to cut them off in bam bam, and then supposedly want to do something to Crimean Peninsula. So during the day, Ukraine's aviation launched 3 strikes on enemy personnel clusters. Missile and artillery units hit 8 enemy artillery pieces on firing positions, 2 electronic warfare systems, an ammunition depot, a fuel depot. During the day, the enemy launched 10 airstrikes and 19 MLRS attacks on the positions of Ukrainian troops and populated settlements. In Volyn and Polisia directions, the operational situation has not changed significantly. There were no signs of the formation of offensive groups. In Zaporizhzhia and Zaporizhzhia directions, the enemy launched airstrikes in the areas of Halahanivka and Leonivka in Chernihiv region, Sumy region, and then you have in Kharkiv region. So they exchanged fire in this northeast. This is Chernihiv, Sumy, Kharkiv. So in this area, the Russians usually just mention the Ukrainians shelling the cities, the villages. They never, I think, mention them hitting anything here. But it's okay. Ukrainians report that they exchange fire. In Kupiansk direction. So now there's the Kupiansk, Liman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Marynka fronts. That's where the Russians are conducting their offensive, which is from here, Kupiansk, to right here to Marynka. So Marynka is down here, Avdiivka, Bakhmut, Liman and Kupiansk. This is where supposedly the Russians are pushing forward. And the Ukrainians, as I said, right here. So they start with the Kupiansk in the right here, in the right east, in the east. In Kupiansk direction, the enemy launched an airstrike on Kharkiv region, and Kharkiv region came under our enemy artillery and mortar attacks. Doesn't say anything about forces advancing. In Liman direction, which is, let's make it like this. So this is Kupiansk here, Liman is right here, then it's going to be Bakhmut, then it's going to be Avdiivka, then it's going to be Marynka. Okay, so now we're right here in Liman area. In Liman direction, the enemy launched an airstrike in Donetsk region. The settlements of Bababab in Luhansk region and Donetsk region were hit with artillery. Again, airstrikes and artillery. No troops. In Bakhmut, we go south. More than 15 settlements came under enemy artillery fire. Again, no troops advancing. In Avdiivka direction, the enemy launched an airstrike near Avdiivka. More than 10 settlements were hit with artillery. And we go to Marynka direction, right here. The defense forces continue to hold back the advance. This is the only one, Marynka, of Russian troops in the area of Marynka. The enemy shelled more than 10 settlements in Donetsk region. So let's see where Marynka is, where supposedly the Russians are doing something. Right here. And here is the border between Donetsk and Zaporizhzhia Oblast. Here is where the Ukrainians are trying to advance. Supposedly here is where the Russians are trying to advance. Right here. So let's go back to the Ukrainians. In Shartarsk direction, the occupiers shelled settlements in Donetsk region. This is a little down here. And then we're going to go in Zaporizhzhia and Kherson. Sometimes they put them together, sometimes they talk independently about the oblast. Let's see. They lumped them together. The Zaporizhzhia and Kherson directions, the enemy focuses its main efforts on preventing the further advance of Ukrainian troops. More than 25 settlements in Zaporizhzhia region and Kherson region were hit with artillery. So as I said, they tried to advance supposedly on this area. And here is the last summary from the Ukrainians. Against the background of the successful military operations of the defense forces of Ukraine and due to significant manpower losses of the invaders, the number of refusals to participate in combat operations increased in the units of the Russian occupation forces. For example, in the area of Rozivka settlements in Zaporizhzhia region, about 60 Russian servicemen from the 247th Guards Air Assault Regiment of the 7th Guards Air Assault Division of the Russian Federation refused to perform combat missions near the village of Staromayorsk in Donetsk region. At the same time, the occupiers partially disabled their vehicles. So Staromayorsk is, if I remember correctly, right here. Right here. Staromayorsk. Yeah. Here it is. So supposedly here the Russians said, no, we don't want to fight. No, mommy, mommy, mommy. And if you believe that, it's up to you. I'm pretty sure things like this occur on both sides. Why? Because they're human. And when we are faced with certain circumstances, sometimes we crack. And sometimes we just get crazy and say, what? And you go there and get shot. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. When the Russians will update their shit, I'm gonna use it. Until then, this is the Ukrainian version. See you later.